Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Right, evening, Patrick Smith. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Tea Time, where we're taking time to pause, reset, and build resilience. So happy that you are here with us this evening. Please remember as you come on to like and share this broadcast. Go ahead and tell somebody that Tea Time is on the air for our evening broadcast. And we're just excited to be here with all of you this evening. As you're coming on, let us know where you're calling from and go ahead and invite somebody. You can also view us over on YouTube as well. So go ahead and make sure as you go over to YouTube that you like and subscribe to our YouTube page where you can go and rewatch some of our mini broadcasts of Tea Time. So good evening, Nichelle. Good evening, one of our
Oh,
faithful Tea Timers. Good evening, and welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. All right, just excited to be here with all of you as we're people are coming on and joining us. We want to just welcome you. Looking forward to this evening's Tea Time Tuesday. Good evening, Carmela. Good evening.
hello.
Good evening. All right. Good to see there, Carmela. All right. And so, even as we're going into tea time, we want to talk about our awareness of the month. As you know, this is breast cancer awareness month in the Renewal Center. We are celebrating breast cancer awareness. And so we are just celebrating this and honoring those who, who are battling breast cancer, who have battled breast cancer, and those who have gone on. So we are observing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is the time to get your checkups and we're being aware of having a healthy life and go ahead and getting those breast cancer screenings. And we're promoting that in the celebration of that. Good evening, Monique. Good evening. Hi, Monique. How are you? Thank you. That's one of our team members and one of our Tea Time community faithful members. If you're new to Tea Time, we just want to personally say welcome to Tea Time. And if you are not new, we want to say welcome back to this week's Tea Time Tuesday. And so we're just going to be able to go ahead. Tell us what you are drinking, what you are having. What is your tea of choice if you're having tea, if you're having water this evening? Let us know. Patrick, what are you having over there?
Actually, this is a pineapple-based tea.
Pineapple. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I
Yeah,
never heard of that one, but
it's pretty
I,
good,
I,
actually.
I bet it's good because you like pineapple. So I bet that it's really good. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Michelle says water. All right. All right. So okay.
Fresh.
I have my little water. Um, so just being refreshed and getting that water in. So again, what are you guys having out there? And as we're moving forward in our tea time this evening, we're going to have a moment. Lemon water. All right. All right, Monique. Lemon water. That's so refreshing with that lemons, especially when it's ice cold. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Thank you so much for sharing, Monique. Lemon water. Lemon water. And so this evening, we just want to take our time, as we usually do, to take a moment to locate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a time where we pause, a time where we kind of relax ourselves, relax your shoulders, relax your fingers, begin to, relax, your breathing. After just a long day, we're just going to take a time and a moment where we're going to pause and locate ourselves. All right. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
That was refreshing, Patrick. The opportunity to pause and locate ourselves. So I'm going to go
Yes.
ahead and turn it over to Patrick for our Tea Time Tuesday for what we're going to be talking about. So looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Hope. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time Tuesday, where we pause, reset, and build resilience. We've located yourself and we've centered ourselves. And so I just want to welcome all of our tea timers and also those of you that are new to the tea time community. I ask that you please go ahead and, if you don't mind, tagging your friends and sharing this on your pages. Tag your friends and share this on your page, so we can connect and build up our tea time community. This is our Tuesday, fourth Tuesday. So generally it's at 7 p.m. And so we're excited to be here with you as we pause, reset, and build resilience for today. So if you can, please tag and please share with your community. It's good to see you on this evening. Hello, Crystal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being on this evening, and want to welcome everyone to the space today. Hopefully, you've located yourself after a long day. So let's dive right in. Today's focus, Hope, very interesting topic I wanted to share with us. And today's tea time and renewal practice is about managing expectations. Managing expectations. You said, well, what does this have to do with pausing, resetting, and build resilience? Well, it's important that we pause so that, and we can look at how are we managing our expectations of ourselves, and also our expectation of others. And so I really want us to think about that as we are considering the importance of how we manage the expectation of what we have of other people. And so that's the emphasis that we want to focus on. Hopefully, we'll be able to engage. And again, thank you, Carmela. Yes, we're looking forward to this topic tonight. And so I'd like us to dig in first, but let's level set on what do we mean when we talk about expectations, Hope. When you think about expectations, what comes to your mind, and also our tea time community, when you think about the word expectations, what comes to your mind? What how does that word resonate with you? And then we'll define that for this evening's renewal practice, and then we'll move forward with our practice for this evening. So Hope, what thoughts come to you when you think about the word expectations, and also our tea time community? Please feel free to share your thoughts on that.
Okay, when I think about expectation, to me it's like I'm trying to get the words that I want to say, like in anticipation to see something happen the way that I think it ought to happen, or something that I'm anticipating to look a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or be a certain way. So an anticipation of a result.
Okay.
Um, if as far as wording, that's what I'm thinking. Because when I think about it, I can, like I'll just say, like, I expect to be home at 5 o'clock, okay, in the
Mm-hmm.
traffic. So we'll have, like, so that is my thought that I want to be home. That is what I'm expecting to do. I want to be home at 5 to do this and do that. So it's kind of like what you envision or what you would like to see happen, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. And I wanted us to be able to really get a foundation about expectations and really think through this. Hey, Nicole, good to see you. Good to see you. Good evening. Want to hear your thoughts when you think about expectations. What comes to your heart? And again, welcome everyone to Tea Time. Please tag, please share, please like. Let's increase the connections tonight. And I want to define expectations, their beliefs or assumptions about what is likely to happen in the future. And they're based on personal experiences. Sometimes they're based on cultural norms, desires, or explicit agreements about what someone is going to do. So when we think about the word expectations, you and I have expectations of others. We have
Hmm.
expectations in our jobs. We have
Hmm.
expectations in our lives. We have belief or assumptions about what is likely to happen in the future. Kind of like what you just shared there, Hope. They're based on personal experiences and certain norms. And so we have a few comments coming in. Expectations, how we treat and care for others. Thank you for sharing that, Monique. And so I want you to think about this when we think about expectations. I really want us to think about this from the perspective that our expectations are a combination of past experiences, present circumstances. Our expectations about our values, our interests, our perceptions we like to happen in the future. So just like what you talked about, that was an expectation. And so this evening, I want us to think about how do we manage our expectations in life? How do we manage that? So if you have your tea time journal and you're taking notes this evening, let's think about this because many times life is about and engagement is about and working with people is about managing the expectation that we have of others as well. And so this evening, I want to emphasize that don't think you can completely control what others do or how something happens. Now, when we think about expectations, hope of others, that's what we're focusing on is when we have an expectation. And I've heard it like this. The space between expectation and reality can be considered frustration sometimes because we
Mm.
have an expectation over here, right? And here's
Mhm.
the realities here, and the
Mhm.
space in between many times can be frustrating because I
Mhm.
have an expectation. Sometimes we have an expectation of how something should turn out, and what happens, Hope? It doesn't work out the way
It
we
doesn't work
expected.
out. Yeah.
This is not what I expected. And so,
Mhm.
because of that, there's frustration or the tension of frustration.
Mhm.
So, I want us to talk about how we have. There are different types of expectations that we have. I'd like to hear from the audience. What are some expectations do you have when you think about expectations? What are the different categories of expectations that you have? Hello, good evening again, Nicole. Hello, Charlisa. Good to see you. Good evening. So, what are some of the expectations? Different categories of expectation? Love to hear from you as well.
Mm.
And so, I
Good.
want us to think about how we manage based upon the answers that we're seeing right now. Here's a few more answers here: anticipation, projections. Hmm. All right. That's when we think about expectations, we think about projections or anticipations. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Carmela. Something else Carmela is sharing here. Oftentimes, frustration is there due to expectations. Absolutely. So we have
Mm.
an expectation, we have reality, and frustration is in between because of our potential projections. So that's the premise this evening. Now, let's get through some renewal practices that'll help us with managing expectations. So, number one, Hope, let's read these two. Don't
Okay.
think you can completely control what others
No,
do or how something happens.
take responsibility for where you are.
There it is. So, those are our first two renewal practices. Don't think you can completely control what others do and how something happens. Hope, lean in on that top one. When you think about that first renewal practice, what comes to your mind? Audience, tea timers, let's think about this as a renewal practice. Let's not think about that we can completely control what others do or how something happens. How important is that to managing expectations from your view?
I think it's very important because what happens is it eliminates or eliminates any for me any disappointment when something doesn't go the way that I thought it should go. It also gives the opportunity to be able to we can't control everything. We can't control people's actions and how they're going to react.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just being in that place of being okay with not being in control because sometimes we want to be in control of what we want to see, what we envision. But when it comes to people, we're all different. And so what I expect you to do, you may not do. And so when I don't have that there and I know that I'm not in control of how you will respond. Only you're in control of how you will
Mm,
respond. So, and so that's just very important to know. Even with taking responsibility for where you are,
Mm-hmm.
and I can honestly, transparently say that I've been there, and even with you, you've told me, to just take away that expectation. I found, and what happens is what you were really saying is relinquish control,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a
Mm-hmm.
form of like I need to, you need to. I'm expecting you to act this way, and if I see any other type of way, then I'm not happy, I'm not pleased, I'm disappointed. It takes away that control, and I can tell you it has worked,
Mm.
because you're not expecting the person to do what you think that they ought to do, or whether it's your job, it may be a job. You have certain
Mm-hmm.
expectations and they don't come through. And so being responsible, being, knowing where I am, why I'm here, and even why am I expecting a certain response from certain situations.
Mm. Mm. That's good. Let's hear from our tea timers. Definitely. Please chime in, everyone. Please share your thoughts and perspectives on these first two. Don't think you can completely control what others do or how something happens.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because expectations are things we come up with in our own heads that we think will happen. And when they don't, what happens? We can be disappointed, and it can be disappointing. We expect others to act a certain way. We're expecting something to come our way, or having a certain expectation even of yourself. So let's make sure, as we're managing expectations, don't think you can completely control what others do or how something happens.
Mm-hmm.
That should free us when we're able to do this. It frees us, and it gives us a sense of empowerment. Okay, the problem is that expectation never goes away, Hope. That's the issue. It sits in the back of our mind, just sits there. It colors our vision and our perspective. Well, I expected this and I
Mm-hmm.
expect that. Unspoken or hidden expectations that we have created
Mm-hmm.
that we need to be mindful of.
Yeah.
So I really want us to think through this, as you're dealing with careers, relationships, friendships, professions, whatever it might be. We got to manage expectations. Here's a few thoughts are
Mm-hmm.
coming in. Hope you want to read this.
Sure. I must be mindful not to expect me from others. Everyone has different expectations.
Mm-hmm. Everyone has different expectations. Absolutely. Here's another one.
All right. Carmela says to first blue
Bullet point.
bullet point. I'm sorry. In my opinion, not every situation may yield the same result every time. Assumption. Control factors may be different in certain cases.
Mm, okay.
I feel, yeah.
So sometimes we have an expectation that it should yield the same result every time. We make these assumptions in our mind. And again, it's about relinquishing that control.
Hmm.
Great point. Thank you for sharing that. Again, folks, what are your thoughts on this? Again, we're talking about the importance of managing expectations. And our first two renewal practices this evening is don't think you can completely control what others do or how something happens. Number two, take responsibility for where you are.
Yes.
Take responsibility for where you are. Because we're
Mhm.
not perfect people, we shouldn't expect that perfection out of others. But what we do is we, of course, expect respect, and there's integrity, character, things like that. But it's important that we recognize expectations can be good or bad. We all have them, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes I think we can confuse hope, expectations, and goals. That's another
Mhm.
conversation. But I think sometimes we can have here's an expectation and we think it's a goal. A goal is actionable. A goal is
Mhm.
achievable, and a goal has a plan.
Mhm.
An expectation does not have a plan.
Mhm.
It's something we put on ourselves or put on others, and then we don't have an agreement. We don't have um, buy-in. We don't have. It's not achievable. It's not actionable. So let's ensure that we don't confuse an expectation we have of somebody or an expectation we have of ourselves with a goal. Because what we'll
Mhm.
end up doing is we'll be thinking, I mean, I thought they agreed with this because of how they behaved or how they interacted, but did they make a commitment to meet your expectation? And sometimes we put that expectation on others, whether we expect us out of them or not. We end up putting ourselves in situations where we're frustrated because we don't have control. So we got to take responsibility for where we are.
Mm-hmm.
How important, T timers, is it that we take responsibility for where we are as it relates to managing expectations? It's important. All right. So it's important. There are a couple of things I want to speak to concerning this, but T timers, if you can answer these two things again. How important is it for us to take responsibility for where you are? How does that fit into managing expectations? You know, there are many different expectations. Hope things like a specific event that you expect it to go a certain way, right? It could be a birthday
Mm-hmm.
party, it could be a conference, it could be whatever. Sometimes you expect somebody to respond with an email within an hour that you sent it. you know,
Yeah.
you expect somebody to live up to a certain
Mm.
standard. You
Yep.
expect even a certain amount of support and commitment from your own family.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Or people can go out when you want to go out or do things when you want to do them. We put expectations, but the important is goals are actions that lay out a plan. Expectations don't. Goals are about laying out plans, but expectations don't. So, Hope, any thoughts on the second one about taking responsibility for where you are and how that relates to managing expectations?
Yeah. I have a question, and I don't know if it's in correlation to what that. My question I have for you is like, okay, so you're expecting something and it doesn't happen, and then I believe that when have in how can I say? I don't want to say realistic expectation because I don't want to, but like expectation that, like you said, like you're on your job or you're thinking somebody answer the email within the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it doesn't, because I realize sometimes we think it's bad. We think it's
Mm-hmm.
negative because we don't get what we want. We all have an expectation of things, good one, good expectations, whatever. We all have a expectation of something, but is it really bad if I don't, if it doesn't come out the way that I think it ought to come out?
Mm. That's a good question. Any tea timers want to answer that? I'd love to hear that. That's a good point, Hope, because again, I think that goes back to our focus here on thinking we can control what others do or how something
Mm-hmm.
happens without necessarily getting an agreement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can take responsibility for when I say where you are, that's your reactions,
Mm-hmm.
when it doesn't go the way we want it to go,
Mm-hmm.
or we have an unspoken expectation, or we say, well, that's just common sense, different things that we
Yeah.
say that we got to be very mindful of. So again, let's think about where am I in this expectation, managing an expectation,
Mm.
right? You got a
Yeah.
comment coming in from Michelle. You want to read this one?
Sure. In expectations, I believe it is wise to communicate with the other parties and then come to a conscious to, to a
Consensus. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, consensus. This covers personal expectations, workplace expectations, relationship expectations, etc. Excuse me for my
Oh, it's okay.
yeah.
No letters. So again, yes, it does cover personal expectations. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Social expectations, performance expectations,
Mm-hmm.
relationship expectations,
Mm-hmm.
organizational expectations. We all have them.
Mm.
Good point, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that. So it's important that we take responsibility for where we are as it relates to managing our expectations. So
Mm.
important. So
Mm-hmm.
important. So again, let's focus on that and be clear. Now, that means because you and I, as individuals, we may fail others in expectation. So it's clear if there's an ask of us, let's be clear on what our agreement is, even so that we don't communicate expectations to others that we didn't agree to, or
Yeah,
expectations that we can't meet.
that's good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even on that end, we need to be very mindful of that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Charlize shares here. We must be clear in our communication skills with self and with others to eliminate any future friction, frustration, or even frowns upon others, especially when they are not aware of what we expected of them from in the beginning. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's make it very clear that as we're managing expectations, again, let's be clear on these things. Let's not think we can completely control what others do or how something happens, and take responsibility for where we are. And that's also when we're on the other end of expectations, Hope, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we present ourselves in a way that we're not meeting certain standards as well. So it's
Yeah.
important that we're able to do that. All right, let's go to the next two. Engage in problem solving. Engage in problem solving. It is important that in order us to manage expectations, we want to focus on engaging problem solving, or if you can say solutions. Everybody put in the comments solutions. When we don't get um, when we do not get what we want because we're not communicating, we got to focus on how we solve problems and generate solutions.
Mm-hmm.
That's critical. Carmela says here about effective communication. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Spot on. Everybody tag out solutions. We've got to solve problems. We've got to generate solutions. And so we want to really focus on that when we think about managing our expectations. How are we engaging in problem solving? How are we
Mm.
challenging previous held beliefs that are no longer adaptive? Sometimes we're holding on to something that we need to let go, an expectation that we have that we need to let go of. Mm,
Mm.
we'll sit on this one for a while, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. Generate solutions. What am I doing to solve this expectation issue? And I want you to really think about that because we got to manage expectations to advance our careers. We got to we have to manage expectations to advance ourselves as individuals, to evolve and to grow. But also it contributes to a healthy friendship relationship dynamic
Mm-hmm.
in with the people that we interact, because life is about relationships. And so it's important that we are engaging in learning how to effectively manage expectations. And again, not only through thinking, we can completely control or taking responsibility, but also how do we engage in problem solving and challenging previous held beliefs that are no longer adaptive. So I want to go to the next one, Hope. Any thoughts on any of these two that you wanted to highlight as well as in our tea time community? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was looking at engage in problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that would be communication.
Mm-hmm.
If there's unspoken expectations, we can't expect anyone to be able to read minds. And so then when things don't turn out the way that they need to turn out, well, if there was an opportunity to communicate that, it should have been communicated. And then there is also grace to allow the individual, they may not be able to meet that expectation. And sometimes we have to be okay with that.
Mm.
We have to be okay with if they say if an expectation cannot be made the way we think or envision it. And that's
Right.
going back to the responsibility. We have, it's good we have to, what else can we do? We have to learn to navigate and be okay that everything is not going to turn out the way that I expect it to turn out.
There it is.
And then
Mm.
it's about navigating in those moments when things don't turn out the way we want them to. Then it's about how do we navigate through that, and take responsibility or navigate through that. When we're taking responsibility, again, I've learned that unexpected, unspoken expectations, you
Mm-hmm.
know, being able to communicate, like Mel said, like Carmela said, being able to
Mm-hmm.
communicate. Sometimes no one's gonna, they're not, maybe not gonna know if you're not communicating this to where it is known, and then allowing to see, or just being in a place to where you're open that the expectation they may not can't do it,
Mm.
and honesty, and then being able to navigate through that.
Mm. Good. Good points. Good points. Any thoughts from our Tea Time community? Please feel free to share your perspectives as it relates to this. Hopefully, this is helpful. Again, tea time is about pausing, resetting. What this will do is help us build our resilience and how we interact with one another. Because many
Mm-hmm.
times we all have expectations. We all have them. It's not good or bad. It's just ensuring that we know how to manage them effectively. And again, we're talking about don't think you can completely control what others do or how something happens. That's not how life works, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we'll be overtaken with somebody else. Things will
Mm.
come out of nowhere. And what this will do, Hope, is lessen our need for control. Let's
Wow.
put that in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Lessen our need for control.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to do, but it's important that we're able to do that. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, again, engage in problem solving. Think about ways you can say, okay, I have an expectation. What solutions can I do to ensure that I manage that? About myself. What do I need to do to manage that? It's not about other people. This is about us and how we manage those expectations. This is not about somebody not meeting our standards or somebody not meeting our expectations. Hope this is about how do I manage?
Yes.
Okay, the next one. Don't compare yourself with how others are. Don't compare yourself with how others are. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So you know what, that you
Go ahead.
said that, it's just a thought that came in my mind when you said don't compare yourself with how others are, meaning that when I see that, I think about, I can't, like, compare myself to someone else who may not be able, they have their limitations and I have mine, and they may not be able to fulfill the expectations. But this is the thing, what if I'm able to fulfill an expectation on my end and then they're not able to, they just say I'm not able
Well,
to do it.
okay.
What if I'm expecting something from somebody and they don't have the capacity, maybe at the time,
Mm-hmm.
or or where they are in their life, they may not be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
How do we handle that when when we feel like we're getting less, or we feel like we're giving more, and we're not receiving the same, and receiving less in an
Mm-hmm.
expectation? How do we handle that?
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. I mean,
So
these are questions we need to
should
ask.
we, I shouldn't compare, because I may be able to fit the expectation that they're asking, and they may not be able to fit the expectation that I may have. I shouldn't compare myself with with them, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense.
So I'm
Absolutely.
not any greater than them. It's just, there may be a point in their life, there may be a time on the job that may be not fulfilling. It may not just be able to happen in that timing. So how do I handle that?
Mm-hmm. That helps us. I mean, Hope we sometimes when we get into this whole issue of comparison as well, when it relates to expectations, but if they can do it, I can do it. Well, everybody's circumstances are different.
That's right.
So it's important that we even manage things like that. Because if we think we can always do what others do or did, then you may get disappointed when you don't get achieve the same outcome. What they
Yes.
did, and they got this. Well, don't look at what they're doing. Focus on what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on what you're doing, how you're evolving. Focus on your uniqueness. Focus on what it is that you're manifesting or releasing or growing or emerging from within you. So that's important that we do that.
Good.
Otherwise, we'll get caught up into this whole expectation of, thinking we can always do what others do or what they've done. And we become disappointed when we don't achieve the same outcomes.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. Some people have different situations. They have different resources. They have different competencies. It's just as important that we value our uniqueness so that we don't get caught up into misplaced expectations.
Wow, misplaced.
It's so important that we're able to do this. So again,
Now, when
folks,
you
we're
say
talking about, go ahead. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
so when you say misplaced expectations, can you break that down for us?
Sure. It's where we think someone is supposed to be a certain way without getting an agreement.
Mm.
And or we're looking at what somebody else is doing and they got a certain outcome and we say, oh, I think I can do that. And as a result of that, we've placed our expectation on the results that we've seen somebody else do, so I can do the same thing.
Mm.
Subtle. We don't even know that we're doing comparison at that point, but it comes up at that time when we're looking at what others are doing. And as a result of that, well, I mean, they can do it. I can do it too, Hope. I mean, they went and got their doctorate. I can get mine too. Well, hold on a second. It doesn't mean that's not what you need to do. Right? Or they were able to do this, or they were able to get this kind of job, or they were able to do this kind of business. You see where I'm going? So it's different being inspired versus comparison.
That's
Inspired
good.
inflates you with life to be unique. Comparison does not. So it's important that we're able to do that. It's critical that we
Wow.
think through not getting into this place of comparison. And secondly, here, don't think you can predict the future well. It's easy to do that. We think this is how it's supposed to turn out. This is how it's supposed to turn out. There are a lot of factors. I think Carmela said it earlier about there are other factors that are out of our control, right?
Yes.
So we should focus on what we can influence, not necessarily, some things that are out of our control. You and I cannot control the weather, but we can control how we respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
We can control, right, how we go out in it if it's raining. So don't think you can predict the future well. Unless you can, here's the decision. Here's how I think it should be. 100%. That's not how it is. So it's better that we might do our best by seeing how things go and adjust ourselves depending on the outcome. This helps us become more pliable when we get out of comparing ourselves to others and thinking we can predict the future too well. Why do you think that, not thinking we can predict the future well helps us manage expectations? Hope. What thoughts do you have on that?
Or repeat that again for me.
For instance, when we think about not predicting the future, thinking you can predict the future well, how important is that as it relates to managing our expectations?
Well, when you say predicting, to me that you relinquish a form of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because prediction, like when they're predicting like the weather, and it's supposed to be this. We know this. The weather can change up. So I'm thinking it's going to be 70, 80 degrees, and when I go and it may not be, maybe a little different. It's beyond, it was predicted. So therefore there's a form of not, it's something that is predicted or said, but it may not turn out the way that we think it ought to turn out, which is kind of just releasing the control of the prediction.
Mm-hmm.
So even the prediction doesn't turn out the way that it needs to turn out. And even in that too, Patrick, it gauges a certain response.
Yeah.
How do I, like if it doesn't turn out to be raining, we we get upset. Like I thought it was gonna be, the sun is gonna be out and it's raining and I got wet, but the weatherman said that it was supposed to be sunny today. Well,
Right.
what he may not, or their whatever their tools they're using, something unexpected came in, like what Carmela said, something unexpected came in and brought some showers, and now we have to adjust to what the weather is.
Mm-hmm. So
So
imagine that in life when we're dealing with people.
yes,
And there it
yes,
is. Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what
We
I think
cannot
about.
predict.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. We can't. It's you just we can try, like you said. We always have expectations, but what I have learned in navigating is, um, it may not turn out the way that I think it ought to be, and how am I gonna handle this?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
What is my response going to be? How am I going to navigate through this? Because it didn't turn out the way that I thought it should be.
Ah, very good. Very good. Here's some comments coming in. Let's see here. Charlisa says, we have control over our responses. We must be more realistic on the pressures we place upon ourselves and on others.
Mm-hmm.
As Anita Andrews says, we can plan a perfect picnic, but we can't predict the weather. Absolutely. So, folks, this is important. We think about the expectations we have for others, that we don't get into comparison. We don't
Mm-hmm.
get into prediction. All right. We're talking about managing expectations this evening as a renewal practice. How are we managing them? Again, these are beliefs and assumptions we think are likely to happen. What do we do? Don't think you can completely control what others do or how something happens. Take responsibility for where you are. Own where you are. Again, let's just recap. Engage in problem solving, generating
Mm-hmm.
solutions, challenging your previous held beliefs that are no longer adaptive. Because managing expectations is not about the other person. Managing expectations is about us,
Yeah.
our expectations, our assumptions, our perspectives. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
again, engage in problem solving, generating solutions. What's the next one here? Don't compare yourselves with others and don't think you can predict the future well. All right. Hopefully everybody's taking these notes for your tea time. It's so important. All right. All right. Let's go to our last renewal practice here, which is do something without expecting any in return. Oh, hope.
Ah, wow.
And
Wow.
don't push your values on others. Tea
Wow.
timers, let's think about this. Because many transactions that we have, actions we do, come in the form of doing something and then expecting that you get something what? In return.
Mm.
I mean, it's normal. I work a job, I expect to get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. There are times, Hope, where we can wholeheartedly devote ourselves to do things, but because we want and only desire the best for the recipient of our actions, and it just is not reciprocated. So we don't need to consistently expect reciprocity. Do something without expecting anything in return. That helps you manage expectations.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Why do you think this is important, tea timers, to adopt this kind of mindset? It does wonders in you in how you relate to people. You can apply it when you don't devote too much time and effort to do something good for others. Hey, I'm just doing good because I'm doing good for them. I'm giving, I'm supporting. I'm not expecting anything in return. Most of our challenges, Hope, is, well, I expect them to do it because I did it for them. That's not quid pro quo. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
But if we develop a mindset, we can lower our expectations that others should give back in what we do to them and just focus on doing good for the benefit of others. Just focusing on the giving, focusing on doing good. That helps us manage those expectations. And it's not necessarily just expecting ourselves and others. Why? Because we don't get it right all the time either.
Mm-hmm.
There are times that I miss it, right? There are
Mm-hmm.
times that you miss it. And so therefore it's important that we emphasize not getting anything in return, but also hope we don't want to necessarily start pushing our values on others. So what thoughts do you have on these 2 points? Do something without expecting any in return. Don't push your values on others. Love to hear from you, Hope. Anybody in our Tea Time community, please feel free to share your perspectives on these. Go ahead.
Well, when I first saw this, do something without expecting anything in return.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought about cultivating an atmosphere of gratefulness, being grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, how does and then how does it affect the other person? It may be a good effect. Maybe they were in a certain place in their mindset, and you helped and you given back without expecting anything in return. Maybe they couldn't even give anything in return, and maybe we didn't know it. But because of that, we can do things just because and not expect anything. And so that right there kind of level sets ones to just in humility, if I should say, in
Mm-hmm.
humility, because you know everything we do a lot of things and don't get things in return if we
Right.
really think about it.
It's true.
I think all of us have experienced that. uh Sometimes, especially when you have children. That's just my little side thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's a way of selflessness,
Mm-hmm.
and giving of our time. And it doesn't have to be, financial. It could be just your time, just a conversation, just,
Yeah.
you know, so it just, to me, that I think that is so wonderful. And I think it's very good that we embrace that even more, you know, because we're such in a place where we're looking up what we can get and how I can get it and what I can get and how is it going to benefit me. And so putting another first and benefiting, for it to benefit others is good as well.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Tea
Yeah.
Time King. Feel free to chime in. Do something without expectation, expecting any in return. Don't push your values on others. Again, we're talking about managing expectations, the ones that we have. That's what
And,
we're discussing this evening.
and
Go
then,
ahead.
when you say don't push your values on others, that's a
Mm-hmm.
good point, because it gets, when you do that, it's a place, it can be a place of stress,
Yep.
and then it can be stress on both ends, especially the person who may not honestly have the capacity at that particular time to be able to do that. And I may have it, but doesn't mean that I push that off and say, well, I can do it. I'm able to do it. So why can't you do it? Why can't you do what I'm, you know, it's kind of like it's comparison, but then it's pushing myself off on someone. And that's kind of not fair, because everybody's at
Mm-hmm.
different places and stages in their lives. And even with our jobs, relationships may be at different standard and different points in our lives. So I seen a comment, Carmela, she said something, yeah, being mindful. Not everyone's core values are in the same order of importance. Yes, it's very
Mm.
good. Being mindful. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Hmm.
These are some good points. I really want us to pause here and really think about why we do what we do when it comes to expectations. Charlisa says being mindful of our intentions with interaction with others. What is the goal? To gain or to grow? Thank you for sharing that. Mr. Anita Andrew says it causes you to self-examine your agenda. Manage your efforts according to what you want to accomplish and not base it on another's actions. Thank you for sharing that.
It's good.
So I think again, this is about our expectations, and
Hmm.
it's really, I think this is a good time to really take some introspection
Hmm.
on the expectation that we place on others, on ourselves, on situations,
Hmm.
whether it's personal expectations or social, professional, relationship, organizational. We place those expectations on others. And so it's important that we take a look at how we um, need to take ownership and responsibility for where we are and what's going on in our headspace. Very important as a renewal practice. I hope that this has been a stretch for us, but also we're taking time to pause and reset expectations so that we can build resilience in our communities. I'd like to hear from you, Tea Timers. What are some of your um, takeaways or what resonates with you the most this evening? I'm going to bring back up Hope, our points from our renewal practices. And again, I want to hear from our audience here. What are some of these renewal practices that resonate with you or are really cause you to reflect and think. And again, when we talk about expectations, our beliefs, our assumptions about what is likely to happen in the future, they're based on personal experiences, our norms, our desires, our explicit agreements about what someone is going to do. Our explicit ones, not theirs, but ours. And
Mm.
so here are our practices again. Don't think you can completely control what others do or how something happens. Take responsibility for where you are. Engage in problem solving or generating solutions. Challenge previously held beliefs that are no longer adaptive. Don't compare yourself with how others are. Don't think you can predict the future well. And lastly, do something without expecting any in return and don't push your values on others. So, Tea Timers, we'd like you to just connect with us and share with us what resonated with you this evening in our renewal practices. We'd love to hear from all of you. We appreciate all your comments and your engagement this evening. And definitely, I think this is one of those renewal practices that it helps us really manage how we're expecting others. So, Hope, as we're closing out and getting comments from our Tea Timers, what resonated with you the most, or is there anything in particular that you'd like to highlight before we finish?
Well, everything did. I mean, there were so many good points made tonight, during this tea time that I just can't pick one. But I
Mm-hmm.
will say in its entirety that all of it resonates to add to, my thought processes and how I manage expectations. So these are some really good renewal center practices that I'm definitely going to continue to move forward in. And this has been a great time of insight and awareness as well
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to how are we when we're managing our expectations. So I thank you so much for tonight's topic for our managing expectations.
All right. Thank you so much. Would love to hear from you, Team Time community. What are your takeaways? What are your takeaways? What resonates with you this evening? A couple here to not push your values on others. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing that. Takeaway, you're uniquely you. Be willing to express your lovingly with self and with others. Express you lovingly with self and others. Got it. Okay. With the goal to grow together and live harmoniously. Thank you so much. Got it. Got it. Anybody else? What are some of your takeaways for this evening? As you're doing that, we want to share a few things with you. And then we'll recap here again at the end. Want to share with you here at the Renewal Center, we are focused this month on one of our programs, the Heart of Renewal Community Program. The Heart of Renewal Community Program. Well, what does this mean for us? It's about together we bring hope, light, and love. And one of the things we're announcing concerning the Heart of Renewal 2024 community program, we are going to be raising support and finances as we partner with Samaritan's Purse organization. We're going to be raising resources to help families who were devastated by the recent hurricanes. And
Mhm.
so, what we'd like you to do is consider over the next couple of weeks, um, by we're looking at November 10th as our final date. We would like to raise at least a minimum of $200 to support that organization in giving to those families. Of course, more would be great, but I'd like you to consider that as you're a supporter of the Renewal Center. So what we'd like you to do is we are partnering with them. Our Heart of Renewal Community Program is number one going to support that. And so November 10th, that Sunday, and also that week during tea time on our social media and our mobile app, we're going to announce what we've received and what we've raised. And so for those of you that are donors, supporters, and givers want to connect with us, when you do give to this, please make sure you itemize, put in there Heart of Renewal and just put that in the Cash App or put it in the Zelle, put it through the website, the Venmo, what have you, when you're giving. And we're going to bring that up here in a minute. Here's your ways you can donate if you want to donate to the Heart of Renewal now, or you want to give a general donation to the Renewal Center. These are the ways you can give through our website. Of course, download the mobile app. You already know that, but I would again want to bring the mobile app down. Just go ahead and type in the Renewal Center NC, and you'll come up and you'll see this. You can give through a secure way through the mobile app. You can also give through our website. You can text to give, just using your phone. You text Renewal Center to 888-364-4483. It'll populate and you'll be able to give through a secure link. Also, you can give PayPal and Zelle, which is the Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail. Our Cash App is Cash Renewal Center, and our Venmo is at Renewal Center. If you want to send mail in, a check or a money order, please send it to PO Box 1381, Concord, North Carolina 28026. So those are the ways that you can support us. And one of the key things is Samaritan's Purse, as we are connecting with that organization. We're going to be posting here soon. So look out for us tomorrow on our social media, as well as in our mobile apps. We want you to make sure that you're able to connect with us as well. So hope you want to go ahead and announce this next announcement, please.
Sure. All right. So this is great. This is our Saturday's Bible study fellowship for women. Our next one is Saturday, November the 2nd, 2024. All right. And it is a great time. The Women at the Well Bible Study Series. Now our Zoom opens up at 10 a.m. and fellowship starts at 10:30. You can join us. We have been having a phenomenal time. It's been over a year now. You can go to our social media pages and register, and we are open and we are having a great time. This is led by our very own Pastor Carmela Head, who's leading the Bible study. This is such a place where we can just be women, receive the word of God, and to just be relaxed, and enjoy one another and the fellowship. And so I'm looking forward to that. So our next one is coming up. And so here we are, all roads lead to grief recovery. We have our grief recovery program. We have individual sessions that have already started, and next year, top of 2025, we will have our GPS, which is going to be our group grief recovery sessions. This is a great program. If you're knowing anyone dealing with grief, the loss of anything, not just of, just a life, but a loss of anything, and they're looking for some services, please allow them to contact us. We have grief recovery specialists on staff who are willing here and able to help to navigate through grief. All right. And then tomorrow night, we have a Reforming Culture Bible study series, the Kingdom of God series. This is on a Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m. We invite you to join us if you're available for a time of the word in reforming culture on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. You can register on our social media websites as well. It's been a phenomenal, phenomenal study thus far. And then on Sunday, join us for our New You Digital Discipleship. That is Sunday at 10 a.m. If you're not fellowshipping in any place, join us, the Renewal Center, for the New You Digital Discipleship, where we receive rich word, transformational word. And we invite you to come join us and bring someone with you as we fellowship in Koinonia on the New You Digital Discipleship on Sundays at 10 a.m. And then we're ready to celebrate. The Renewal Center celebrates 4 years, the
Yes.
entire month of November. All right, get excited. I hear you, Patrick.
Yes.
Get excited about it. All right,
Absolutely.
this is a great time. We are upon 4 years, and we want you to be a part of the celebration the entire month of November. So stay
Yes.
tuned to different things that we'll be doing in the month of November. Join us as we celebrate what has taken place thus far with our 4 year celebration of the Renewal Center.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for those wonderful announcements. Thanks everyone for your engagement. Got a few more comments for some takeaways today. We want to continue to show again. Thank you, Carmela. Takeaway: focus on your capacities. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Monique says, I take away from tonight is learning not to place any expectation on others is important. Thank you for sharing that. You're welcome. Absolutely. Enjoyed being here this evening. Yes, 4 years. We're excited and grateful. Again, we want to invite everyone. Please make sure that you download your mobile app. Stay connected to us. We'll see you here the first Tuesday, because we do first, second, and third Tuesdays um, during the day. And then, of course, fourth Tuesday. So we will not be in tea time next Tuesday, but we'd like you to make sure tomorrow, please check our social media so that in all of our areas for our announcements so you can be a part of everything that's taking place. Again, Women at the Well, and also, of course, the Heart of Renewal 2024 community program. We are excited to give. Now, what we're going to do with that is also hope we want to share. We've targeted some families we're going to support throughout the holidays, through Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we'll be driving this not only just for the hurricane relief, but also there's specific families we want to bless and strengthen that we're focused on helping and serving.
Mhm.
Those that do not have, that don't have, they've gone through hit difficult times. We want to provide compassion and support them through those moments. And so that's what the Heart of Renewal Community Program is all about. We're excited about that, being able to give and support those. So again, I want to thank everybody for being on this evening. I hope that our focus on managing expectations has been a strength to you. I want to remind you again to please make sure that you download the mobile app. And these, of course, are our ways of giving through the Renewal Center. I want to thank you for giving. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being a part. Please take some time to share this Renewal Center Tea Time Tuesday with others. Also, make sure that you download our mobile app and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right. Invite your friends to tag our Facebook page and our Instagram page so we can build up our following, build up sharing what we have to offer others, because that's what we're about. So we're excited. We say congratulations to the Renewal Center for its upcoming 4 years, for all that have been a part that's come through the doors, even of the facility at the center. Also, for those that come through all of our reforming culture on Wednesdays, our Tea Time Tuesdays, our grief recovery, my goodness, reading our blog, Hope, downloading our mobile app, came to the digital discipleship through our prophetic gatherings. We have reached people in
Yeah.
a way that's exciting. So please, those of you that are viewing with us, take some time to say, I'd like to partner with you, Renewal Center. Here's how I want to give. Here's how I want to support you. And these are the various ways that you can do that. We'd love to partner with you, and you can connect with us and be with us. So again, so thanks everybody. And we look forward to seeing you, all right, either tomorrow at the Reforming Culture, or we'll see you Sunday for our New Year Digital Discipleship. And until then, have a great day. I am Renewal, and let's take
Renewal.
care of each other. All right, folks. Thanks so much for your time, and we will see you the next time. Have a good evening.